What's up? What's up? What's up with y'all, man? Look. We coming fresh off of the Baltimore Ravens loss to the Philadelphia Eagles right here on the Be More Show. Welcome in. Hope you guys are doing well, at least better than y'all were a couple of days ago. But we're gonna jump right into it, man. Look, the Baltimore Ravens lost their rare Sunday afternoon matchup, or Sunday close to the evening matchup, Sunday 4:25 p.m. Eastern matchup to the Philadelphia Eagles, 24-19. And I think honestly, man, it leaves us with a lot to talk about. It leaves us to ask: are the Ravens in trouble right now? Because the Ravens are falling, and the Ravens are falling fast. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I think this was the last thing that I expected uh to happen with the Baltimore Ravens this year. Like, I mean, I think we've been talking about this the last couple of years, and especially considering how the AFC is, even just the thought of the Ravens falling out of number one seed was kind of odd to think about. The thought of the Ravens not winning the AFC North was weird to think about. Um, and even at this point, looking at the potential of maybe the Ravens not being in the playoffs is kind of crazy to think about. Um, I mean, because even when you look at the playoff picture, right, you look at everybody else who can compete. Who can compete. You got the Bengals at 4-8. You got the Dolphins at 5-7. The Colts at 6-7. And then you got Denver trying to hang on to that 7 seed at 8-5, tied with the Ravens at 8-5, and I think the Ravens have the tiebreaker on them too. And then one game behind the Chargers at 8-4. So, and then you go into the divisional team, the teams that are winning their divisions, with of course Kansas City being the number one overall seed. And it's very, very interesting, man. It's very, very interesting because if the season was to end today, the Ravens will play the Steelers, and depending on how this matchup goes in a couple weeks, it makes you wonder, would you even want that as a Ravens fan? But it's very, very interesting, man. Like, another loss, similarly to what we've seen losses in the past. The Ravens get up, the Ravens get up 2 possessions. I mean, and they pretty much it felt like they lost that lead in the second quarter, and the Eagles never looked back. You know, and it wasn't one of those games where you felt like the Ravens were outclassed or the talent wasn't there, or it just felt like once again John Harbaugh got outcoached again. And it's frustrating. I think that's what's frustrating about it. All 5 of these losses this season, when you look back at them, all 5 of these losses this season have just felt very similar. It's not like the Ravens have been the worser, the lesser of the 2 teams. Even when you go back to week 1, I mean, at least week 1, you're mad because you lost by a toe. Like, that's it. Like, you're mad because likely couldn't get his feet down. Like that. That's what you're mad about more than anything. But even still, it just felt, even in that game, it felt like, not that the Ravens felt outmatched. It felt like the Ravens got kind of, the Ravens got outcoached. And I think that's becoming a bigger and bigger problem. For me, I've never been the biggest, at least, and I'll say probably the past 2 years I have been, but prior to that, I had never been the biggest John Harbaugh naysayer, right? Like, I had never been a guy who was like, hey, like, I don't like Harbaugh. He's not doing anything for the team. He's not good for the team. He's stuck in the past. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not pushing these guys to be better than what they are. Even at the time where the Ravens were pretty average, right? We're pretty mediocre. I wasn't the guy saying, hey, like, get him out of here. Like that, I thought, I thought it was injuries. I thought it was other things. And shout out to the Ravens content creators, man, because, just to hear some different perspectives, hear some different points of view, and you start to think about what you watch every Sunday, and you're like, you got an MVP quarterback, a multiple time MVP quarterback, a future Hall of Famer at quarterback, a guy who obviously has everything in him to win games. We've seen it in the regular season over and over and over again. You got a Hall of Famer at running back, right? The offensive line sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired. I think the receivers sometimes leave a little bit to be desired compared to the rest of the league. But it's enough right now, especially this season, right? I think in previous seasons, I think we could have a conversation. I think this season, at least you feel like, at least in this season, you feel like, okay, they've gotten better, they've improved, they've shown that, Bateman has shown improvements. Zay obviously has shown he can be that guy. Is he that guy? I think that begs the question too. But he's shown that he can show up. I don't feel like Zay honestly gets enough targets, but it's hard because when you say Zay doesn't get enough targets, then the ball gets forced to Zay. And that's kind of the hard part about it is like, when you don't have that guy, sometimes you lean on people by committee, but the issue with leaning on people by committee is who is going to show up when the going gets tough, who is going to show up when you desperately need it, who is going to show up when you need a first down. Besides Lamar, of course, who is going to show up, especially in that receiver core, when you need a first down? And I think that still continues to be a concern, right? I think we're still worried about, and I think it's gotten to the point where defense is like, well, I'll put it to you this way: Zay's not going to do it. You're gonna have to have one of these other guys do it. You're gonna have to throw it up to Nelly, and if he drops the ball, sorry for you. You're gonna have to prove that Bateman is the guy that y'all paid in this offseason to showcase that he is that dude. He gonna have to prove that to me. Of course, there's Mark Andrews, and we know what he can do. But it's like I think they're really keying in on the main guys, and honestly, I don't, unless he's sitting on the bench somewhere. I don't feel like the Ravens have that deep threat guy that they had before too, because I know I've heard a lot of people talk about, and I think it is an issue that the Ravens are more like home run hitters, right? I've heard that a lot. I've heard that the Ravens try to hit home runs instead of hitting singles to try to break you down. Because previously, let's be honest about it, right? You get a home run here and there from the Baltimore Ravens, but it was, and even in the wins this season, you would see it was very efficient, right? It wasn't necessarily 300, 400 yards passing. It was very efficient. Completion percentage was very high. Touchdowns were high. Yards per play was possibly, it was still pretty high, but you was bruising them with the run game, and you were setting that up to be something that was great. In the passing game, utilizing the threat. And I think unfortunately this team doesn't do that enough, right? They don't depend on the threat of what Lamar Jackson can do with his legs to create easy first down opportunities. They don't utilize what Derrick Henry can do from the backfield, especially under center. They don't use that as a threat to beat you in the passing game. It's almost like the Ravens are running the same offense they ran last year that was still one of the top in the league, but they're running the same offense they were last year, but they have the weapons to make it easier. If you're looking at me and if you're looking at this offense and you say, hey, there's an easier option here, why wouldn't you take the easier option? And I feel like sometimes, for whatever reason, the Baltimore Ravens don't do that. I feel like there was times in this game, and I don't think this necessarily has anything to do with taking checkdowns or anything to do with holding the ball too long. I think a lot of it goes back to play calling. I think execution could be better, yes, but there were some times where the ball was dropped right in the bucket and it was just dropped. Simply put, there were some times where there was there were some running lanes, and there were, even Lamar's mom said it. There were some running lanes and they just weren't taken, right? But sometimes it's like, couldn't it be simpler than that? And I know like some of it. Honestly, I don't think the Ravens trust Justice Hill like they claim they do, because I feel like some of it could be where probably Keaton Mitchell fits in because he's got that notch higher of speed than Justice Hill does. I feel like that could be it too. I think there's some plays and there's some play calls and there's some sequences that are designed for Keaton Mitchell to be there, and he's not, right? For whatever reason. Now that's a whole nother topic for another day, ain't it? Because Keaton Mitchell has been on a milk carton. Deontay Johnson has been on a milk carton. And those are the two big offensive guys where you've been like, where is he at? Even utilizing Tez Walker for his speed has kind of been on the milk carton. But, going back to the Eagles-Ravens game, that's a whole other video for a whole other day right there. But it's just, these losses just feel so similar, They feel so similar. And like I said, I don't feel like it just doesn't feel like the Ravens are being outclassed. They're not getting outgained crazily. Even when you look at the numbers, they're not getting outgained by crazy amounts. Some of it goes back to penalties, but it's just like, even in this game, it didn't feel like it was a lot of penalties. But I mean, another thing is going back to John Harbaugh, going back to Todd Monken, and going back to this coaching staff is, for a fact, and you've known this for 7 years now, that you can't play behind the sticks, but you still have no solution for playing behind the sticks. That's a problem too, right? That's another problem that's big. That's another problem that's frustrating. And sometimes watching the games is frustrating because how am I as a fan seeing something, but you as a coach, a professional NFL coach, can't see it? I don't get it. I don't get it. And it's just crazy, man, because it ended up being 24-19. Of course, the Ravens got the late score at the very, 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 very end of the game with a chance for an onside kick to possibly, try to go Hail Mary and win the game. But, they ran out of time, just didn't work out. But it's just, it's one of those things, man, where it's crazy, I think, one of the on the positives of it, I think this defense has played much better over the past couple weeks. It's funny, like right now the Ravens can't put it together. Like, it seems like Harbaugh was focused so much on improving the defense that now the offense has been left by the wayside. And adjustments for the offense has been left to the wayside for the offense to figure out. But I mean, I think honestly, and it's going back to it, like this is going back to moments throughout this season where the Ravens had possibilities of being unstoppable, right? Everything was simple, was much more simple then, though. Like you're sitting here and you're watching Lamar roll out to the right with the potential of running if it's there for him, but a tight end slipping behind, and that's easy money. That's an easy touchdown. That's an easy first down. Going under center. Like, I mean, there was plenty of times, especially early on in this season, where we said, Lamar Jackson's under center? This is weird. Are we sure? Is this a fake? We're going to go back in the pistol or something? And it was just a play action because of the threat of Derrick Henry. And that's how it went, right? That's how it went. That was it. It was easy money. It was, and I think like it would be okay. I mean, maybe the Ravens right now offensively are trying some things to get themselves ready for the playoffs, right? Like maybe, but you can't lose games trying stuff. I'm sorry. You can't keep losing games trying stuff, right? You have to find ways to get to get something going. And just jumping into some of the topics for the show, back to the John Harbaugh situation, right? And it just seems like, I think that's what's frustrating about John Harbaugh is I don't think I realized until over the past couple of years how much John Harbaugh just simply doesn't know. Like he just doesn't know it. I'm like, are you the head coach, or is this like ran by the fans or something? Like what's going on? Like, are you the head coach? Is like EDC the actual head coach or something? Like, what is going on, dude? Because there's so many times where Harbaugh just doesn't know what's going on. Let's listen into this, and I'll give my thoughts as we listen in. This was shout out to Sarah Ellison for throwing this out here, just about the cryptic answer that about Deontay Johnson. So now, for everybody who don't know, Deontay Johnson, the Ravens traded for. The Ravens traded for Deontay Johnson right before the trade deadline. People were excited because we're like, okay, this is a spot that you know you know he could get fill into that spot where Aguilar is, right? And he could give a little bit more speed, a little bit more youth, just a little bit of something different. But he's been a no-show, been like a no-call, no-show. And we don't know why. So you know who you ask? You know who you ask when you need some answers about players who aren't playing for some reason? John Harbaugh. And you get a similar answer to this every single time. And this is why I get the media ain't frustrated at him. I get people throughout the league aren't frustrated at him, but Ravens flock is mad at John Harbaugh because he does this every single time you need a real answer to a real question.
Right. At this time, I'm going to have to wait. Just to clarify, there's some moving parts there that we're going to have to figure out and explore and just see where we're at. I know it's not the answer you want, but it's the best I can do in fairness to everybody right now.
Are you expecting to continue to be on the team after the bye?
I think, like I said, we'll just work it out, see where we're at over the next few days and this week. Right.
And this was in response to, will Deontay Johnson even be on the team after the bye? And it goes back to a Ravens organization issue, because we've seen this happen time and time again. We saw it literally just last year with Dalvin Cook. You got a guy with a lot of potential, a guy you can bring in, give you a little change of pace, especially after Keaton Mitchell got hurt. And he came in, he collected some money, and he walked right out the door because he didn't hit the field. Hit the field a couple times here and there. It's like Melvin Gordon played more than Dalvin Cook did. And that don't make sense because Dalvin Cook, before he played with the Jets, was just coming off 1,000-yard seasons as a running back. So why is he not playing? Same situation here with John Harbaugh and Deontay Johnson. I think somebody had put it out there. I don't know who it was. Somebody had put it out there, and they said that Deontay Johnson has like 5 snaps. 5. This man got 5 snaps since he's became a Raven. And it's just crazy. It's like, it doesn't make sense because it's like, first things first, why even trade for him? Why did you, like, what's the point? What did you trade for him for? Like, he could be an asset to the team, but you ain't even allowing him to show what he can do. He looked, I mean, maybe I'm tripping. I'm pretty sure he was the Panthers' leading receiver. So you took the Panthers' leading receiver for barely nothing, and you won't even just show him the field, right? Like, I get we trust Nelson Aguilar. I understand that. But I would love to see what Deontay Johnson can do, because more than likely, Nelly ain't going to be on the team after this year. More than likely, Deontay Johnson ain't going to be on the team after this year. So at least let's see if there's something worth looking at long-term later. And sometimes I think, like we said before, I think this is a Ravens organizational issue, because if I don't play him, he might come back on a cheaper deal. And I think that goes back to the Ravens not paying people, and everybody had gotten a little angry at me talking about how the Ravens pay people. But it's like when you see situations like this, sometimes it's like, but wait a minute, why? By that logic, wouldn't you think that they would? Wouldn't you think that they would want to see what he could do? Don't you think Deontay Johnson would be an asset to the team? Why the heck you draft Tez Walker if he's just gonna sit on the bench anyway? Even going to the point of Tylan Wallace. Let's be honest, y'all, right? Tylan Wallace has made some plays this year, right? I know he fumbled the punt, and we won't be mad about that, but Tylan Wallace has made plays this year. Tylan Wallace in the game was against the Bucks. I think it was against the Bucks. When the Ravens offense couldn't do anything, Tylan Wallace took a quick out to the house. So why isn't Tylan Wallace playing more? And that goes back to it too. It's nothing that I have against Nelson Aguilar, but the more talent you got on the field and the more playmakers you got on the field, the better your offense becomes, the harder it becomes to defend. So why would you not just trot this guy out here? Let's see what he had to say.
They working me in there slowly, but I just go out there, whenever they call my number, going to do my thing, Like I said, I can't go in there just expecting a lot, That's putting a lot of pressure on myself, However the game goes, I'm all for it.
Is it weird being on the other side? Where do you see yourself fitting into this wide receiver group in this offense?
Just out of respect for everybody else, just wherever they need me to be at right now, until I learn everything, until they feel comfortable with me playing something else, then that'll be my focus. But right now, I'm just trying to get acclimated and just, what I'm saying, work with what they give me right now. So, but once I found out where I was going, I was excited. Just a lot of stuff I get to just sigh relief. So I'm ready to work. They working me in there slowly.
And I think sometimes, sometimes I get a little frustrated because it's like, why? Like I said before, why trade for him? But it's like, obviously he wants to be on the field, right? He signed with he didn't sign with him, but he was traded to Carolina to be their guy. Like he was, no offense to Thielen over there because he playing well too, and he's always played well. But Deontay was kind of not drafted, but traded to be the guy that especially Xavier Legette could learn from. And now he's in Baltimore. And I've talked about it before. Like, even if he's not supposed to be your number one guy, cool. Who cares? That's more talent for you. That's something that the Philadelphia Eagles understand. That's something that the Cincinnati Bengals understand, right? That's something that the San Francisco 49ers understand. You can never have too many really good wide receivers. It don't matter if you trust your guys. But anywho, look, man, I just, I'm frustrated right now with this team. And it's just frustrating because it feels like sometimes they can't get out of their own way, and I get it. The offensive line is a part of this team I was wrong about was the offensive line. So I was like, okay, maybe we'll be fine, right? Maybe we'll be fine because you get a chance to retool the offensive line. You drafted Voorhees and Rosengarten. You drafted these guys in high spots to be put in prominent positions. Of course, you got Ben Cleveland if you need that veteran guy. He's been there. He's done that before. I felt like, this was the one I was deeply wrong about. Patrick McCarry deserves a starting spot because he hadn't had a starting spot before. And that's the thing. Like, you live and you learn, right? If I see that McCarry ain't it, I might want to try something different. Right? It don't matter what position you put McCarry in. McCarry is a Swiss Army knife. He can play any position as a backup, right? As a backup, not as a starter every single week. I mean, that's just how it is, man. That's just how it is. But real quick, let's see what the flock is talking about real quick after this game. Let's see how the flock is feeling. I let y'all know how I'm feeling. I'm a little frustrated. Let's see if the flock is just as frustrated as I am. All right, so let's jump into this one right here from Preach Flock. Name is John Harbaugh ruined my life. I got a whole nother video. I got a whole nother video on John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens making an attempt to win the Super Bowl with John Harbaugh. I got a whole nother video on that, but we'll do that here in a little bit. Look, he said, and I'm just gonna respond to these one by one. Shout out to this guy right here. He said EDC and Harbaugh on an insane run in Baltimore right now. Okay, that sounds good. Look, I'm excited. All right, they doing that thing. All right, they doing it. Okay, let's go. All right, so first round corner Nate Wiggins not starting over Brandon Stevens. Look, y'all. Look, this has been something I really want to bring up. And sometimes I appreciate the Flockers. Y'all keep me on the straight and narrow because I forgot about that. I really did because I don't understand why Brandon Stevens. All right, I need to be nice. I don't understand why Brandon Stevens is even playing at times because Brandon Stevens has been awful. You can sit down a guy who is being paid so many millions. He's been being paid a max contract to play safety for you in Marcus Williams. But Brandon Stevens, even though you got all these corners, you drafted all these corners, you've brought in all these corners, you've drafted Nate Wiggins in the first round, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You still have first round corner Nate Wiggins playing behind Brandon Stevens. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've personally felt like Nate Wiggins has been one of the best corners for the Ravens. I mean, I know, I think he's been inconsistent from time to time, but I feel like he's been pretty good this year, right? I feel like he's been pretty good. Third round pick, Adisa Isaac, missing. Fourth round pick, TJ Tampa, also missing. Fourth round pick, Tez Walker. I'm sorry, I mean inactive, right? Not missing, but still missing. Look. just those three picks by itself. I don't understand it, man. And this goes back to why do we hoard picks? We're hoarders, y'all. Like I turned on TLC, I watched an episode of Hoarders, and I saw M&T Bank Stadium on there because we are pick hoarders. That's all we do. It was EDC's office, right? We was in the back of EDC's office, and he had all his picks just stockpiled so he can waste them. This is crazy, man. This don't even make sense, dude. Like, this don't even make sense. Nate Wiggins, I'm cool with. Adisa Isaac, I don't even know what this man is. TJ Tampa, I don't even know what this man is. Speaking of corners, Tez Walker, why not even try? I don't care if he ain't ready. Throw him on a couple of go routes and let's see what he has. Because you don't have that guy. That's why I was excited they drafted Tez Walker. Was because I just wanted to see some speed on this team. The Ravens don't have the speed like they had when Hollywood was around. The biggest thing they lost when Hollywood left this building was speed, man. And why in the world? I get he's injured. Say what you want. I get that he's injured. Why they didn't bring him back, I'll never understand. But anywho, whatever. That doesn't... This tweet, man. Let's get back to this tweet, man. Hire Zach Orr over Leonard Wilson, who I think is coaching elsewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Traded for Deontay Johnson. Here's my guy right here. I was talking about those 5 snaps. We played a max of 5 snaps. Lele starting. Look, y'all. Look. This was another thing that I was wrong about. I thought, look, man, Lele is fine. You know what? I like him when I'm wrong every so often. I was like, you know what? Lele is good, bro. It's fine. Lele is fine. The problem is not Lele. It's not. The problem is not Lele. He just need to be moved to guard. I think he'll be fine at guard. I was wrong. That man, No. Okay. Patrick can play anywhere. Macari, allowing 9 pressures in one game. I wonder who is texting on this. Also, Patrick need to be a backup. Macari, because he's great. He can play every position for a couple snaps as a backup. That's just me. And then of course the $70 million man, Marcus Williams, is inactive. I mean, they hidden. They hidden. He said he got more receipts from this. Cody, who was commenting on the tweet, said all these fall on Harbaugh. Yeah, I mean, you can say it falls on EDC, but my problem, the draft picks, I think sometimes fall. Look, y'all, this is the thing about EDC though. EDC has given Harbaugh and the coaching staff what they wanted, right? Harbaugh wants to play this defense, run the football type of team. That's the team he wants to run. That's what you get. That's what he's giving you. First round corner, third round pass rusher, fourth round corner, fourth round corner, fourth round corner, fourth round. You know what I mean? That's what he gives you. David Ajabo that you wanted because your brother coached him. Adafe Owe that you wanted because he was a raw talent. You can just pick your poison with him. That's what you got, man. I mean, I think that's the thing. I'm not saying that EDC isn't to blame on some things that he does, but EDC does right by his guys. I will say that. That's the one thing that I'm gonna give EDC credit on. Is like when Greg Roman was here and he wanted 3 tight ends, he had 3 tight ends, and he had 3 good tight ends. Right? He had a first round tight end. He had probably a future Hall of Fame tight end in Mark Andrews, and he had another tight end, and then he grabbed Likely. He grabbed Kolar. He had tight ends, right? You know what I mean? So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. J-Tuck, man. Look, y'all, I think I'll have to do a whole video on Tucker, man. Because, I mean, I don't think y'all remember where my boy Justin Tucker took us from, okay? I don't think we understand. All right. What's this comment say over here? How about Lamar's mom doing something Harbaugh could never do? His mom told him to run. All right. Look, y'all. Look. Hey, team consistently beats itself. They do, man. They do. Look, but 22. So for y'all who are listening for me, Ravens Justin Tucker this season, 22 points, lost in 5 combined losses. Justin Tucker has missed kicks that would have equated to 22 points. Now, does that mean that Justin Tucker is the reason why the Ravens are losing? Nope. I mean, and I'll say nope as a caveat, as he's not the only reason they're losing, but Justin Tucker is a big reason why the Ravens are losing. The Ravens, I mean, you can tell John Harbaugh is a special teams coach because anytime Justin Tucker misses, the Ravens losing. Like y'all can just like that's the unfortunate part about it. Like anytime Justin Tucker misses, the Ravens are losing. Like it's been a trend for far too long, man. And that's the thing about it, man. Like Justin, the Justin Tucker issue is big because your kicker or lack thereof affects how you call the game, right? Affects what passes Lamar makes, affects if Lamar chooses to run, affects if Lamar decides to throw it down the field as opposed to, to take his shot because they're in field goal range as opposed to not being in field goal range. So yeah, the kicking thing is an issue. And I mean, of course, for a guy who has taken us out of the woes we were in before he came here, I mean, it's unfortunate, but you can sit down everybody else. Why not? Why not Tuck? And I get it, man. I understand why you'd want to stick with him, but I'm also curious too, and I'll probably do a whole video on Tuck, but I'm curious too. Is Tucker missing in warmups too? It's weird because Tucker has been missing more than he usually does, but I don't remember anybody like they always talk about. It's so weird, bro. The NFL is weird. Like the coverage is weird. They talk about how many kicks you make in warmups. They talk about, oh, he made an 80-yarder in warmups. Oh, he was kicking from the logo in warmups. Oh, he was kicking into the wind in warmups. And he was making them, but I never really see them talk about if he's making or missing kicks in warmups, right? Like just as for comparison's sake, because if he's making kicks in warmups, it could just be the hold, right? Now this tells you that it's been a reoccurring problem for two seasons. Shout out to Raven C. Justin Tucker. It says Justin Tucker over the last 2 seasons, 50+ yard field goal attempts, 4 of 12. So I mean, I think that would tell you that he's kind of lost his leg a little bit, right? Over the last couple seasons, he's kind of lost his leg, like lost maybe the power, maybe, but and I mean that's with getting older, but that maybe he's just kind of lost a little bit of the kicking long distance field goals. But I mean, this year it's just been wild. Like I don't know if I ever really expected that from Tucker. You've always trusted Tucker. You've always been excited for Tucker. You've always been excited for Tucker. So, but anywho, let's get out of here, man. Look, I can't scream at y'all no more about these Baltimore Ravens tonight. But anyway, I definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate y'all for joining the conversation. Join the conversation below as well. Leave me a comment. Let me know what's going on with the Ravens, man. What's going on? Can they get up? Can they get up? We'll talk about that later on in the week. Can they get up? I know they got the bye week, so we got plenty of time to talk this week, but and it sucks. A loss going into the bye is always rough. It always feels like the entire season is over, even though, of course, it's not. But gonna be very, very interesting to see what the Ravens do, how they figure some things out for the bye week. I'm hoping Deontay Johnson finds his way into the rotation over the bye week. But definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and remember that the Be More Show is on all major podcasting platforms. I pulled that one up for y'all. All major podcasting platforms. So be sure to like the show and all the things that you do. Definitely, we hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Be